Welcome, sleepy soul. I'm your storyteller tonight, here to guide you into that fragile space between dreams and darkness, where your mind drifts, your breathing slows, and something unseen might be listening. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more bedtime tales. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, what time it is, and whether the shadows in your room feel a little closer tonight. And if there's a story you want next. I'm always listening that I used to believe the worst sin a person could commit was lying. Not cheating. Not stealing. Lying. A lie doesn't bruise the world around you, it burrows under your skin and chews from the inside, like a parasite you pretend doesn't hurt. Mine felt like a nail embedded in my heel, and I kept walking like it didn't pierce deeper every day, but I swear, on whatever scrap of truth I haven't stained, I never thought the past would stalk me like this. Not on a quiet morning. Not when sunlight was soft, harmless, ordinary. Back then, we lived in a sleepy suburb outside Denver, winding cul-de-sacs, sterile lawns, neighbors who complained about raccoons and suspicious vans in their Facebook group. My wife, Harlow, grew up there. I didn't. Maybe that's why she always melted into the neighborhood like she'd been carved from it, while I floated inside it like a ghost renting space in someone else's perfect little dream. That morning, I was lounging by the pool, half asleep with a paperback I'd been pretending to read for months. The sun warmed my shoulders. Harlow drifted lazily on a float, sunglasses reflecting the sky, humming some off-key Fleetwood Mac song that should have annoyed me, but somehow made me feel safe. What a goddamn joke. Then I heard it, clicked out a sound so sharp and deliberate it sliced straight through the warm morning air that I told myself it was a bird or a neighbor's gate. But then a shadow glided across my book. A drone, small. Matte black. No brand. No stickers. No retail seams. Its camera rotated downward, locking onto my face like an unblinking mechanical pupil. Click, what the hell? I stood so fast the chair scraped the concrete like a scream. Harlow jolted upright, splashing water. What's going on? The drone dipped lower, too low, hovering inches above her, the prop wash rippling the water around her cheeks. Harlow screamed, choking on chlorine. Get it away. What is that? I grabbed my book, my useless, flimsy weapon, and swatted at the thing that it dodged with surgical precision, then shot upward and darted over the fence toward the street like it knew the neighborhood better than I ever would. Adrenaline hijacked me. I ran barefoot over burning concrete, past the side yard, shouting like an idiot chasing a rabid animal. The drone zigzagged through branches, skimmed over an SUV, then dove straight into the open door of a backyard shed behind the last house on our street. It flew inside like it was returning home. The shed door slammed shut. I froze. The world around me went still, too still. No wind. No kids. No dogs barking. Just the pounding in my skull and the faint creak of the shed breathing, as if something inside exhaled. I grabbed the handle, unlocked. Inside, darkness thick enough to taste. The smell hit me first, dust, rotting wood, and something chemical, electronic, unnatural. I stepped inside. Slam. The door slammed behind me so violently I felt the shock ripple through my ribs. Open the door. This isn't funny. I rattled the handle. There was nothing to rattle. No latch. No knob. Just smooth metal. Whoever built the inside of that door designed it to never open from this side. A projector clicked on overhead. A pale rectangle of light, then static, then my face. Not just me with Harlow in bed. Me in the shower. Me cooking. Me sleepwalking. Me half-dressed. Angles from vents. Mirrors. Light fixtures. Places no camera should ever be. My blood went ice cold. Then came him, Jace, my assistant from last year. A mistake. The mistake, footage of me in his apartment, footage of us in my car, footage of me drunk, talking, confessing, things that would ruin me. Then a new slide, transfer all financial accounts and properties to Alan Sherford within 30 minutes. We have access to all your devices. Do not test us. My stomach twisted so violently I thought I'd vomit. The shed hummed, like it was alive, like whoever was watching was right behind the wall. My phone buzzed, Bluetooth request. device 01. The shaking in my hands was so bad I dropped my phone twice before opening the DocuSign link. Pages, endless pages, everything under my name, gone. My entire life, gone, all my secrets, exposed. I signed. The projector shut off, dark, silent, then the door unlatched softly, almost gently, as if the shed was done with me. I ran home. Harlow's car, gone, closet, empty, laptop, phone, chargers, gone, like she had been a placeholder in my life, erased cleanly by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The next morning the bank confirmed the transfer. I collapsed and screamed until my throat felt raw enough to bleed, but by evening, something colder than grief settled inside me, something sharper. If Harlow wanted war, I would burn the battlefield. I returned to the shed with gloves, tools, a flashlight. It was spotless. Too spotless, like someone had sterilized it with military precision, but I'm thorough. I tore up floorboards, and there it was, a USB drive labeled V3 Final Cut. I brought it to Kirk, ex-cyber forensics, now vape shop philosopher. Paid him in crypto and bourbon. 10 minutes later, he exhaled slowly. Whoever did this? They're good. Real good. But they slipped. How? Cracked editing software. CineForge Ultra. Registration fingerprint traces back to a machine login used exactly twice, in a hotel in Santa Fe, California. The Bramblewood Hotel, room 228. Booked under the name Lena Shade, a name Harlow used when she read Gothic novels. She wasn't hiding, she was taunting. I tracked her to Sedona, Arizona. Sunleaf Lodge, saw her laughing with some guy built like a vanity project. Rage drowned every logical thought. I confronted her. She didn't deny anything. She didn't flinch, she didn't even look scared. Instead, she tossed me a key card to a storage unit. Go look, she said, then decide if you still think you're the victim. Unit 143 smelled like dust and dead air. Inside was a surveillance lab, monitors, maps, hard drives, drone parts. A timeline of our marriage dissected, labeled, weaponized, and worst of all, one monitor still streamed live footage from hidden cameras inside my old home. She was still watching, still listening, still waiting. I returned to the hotel. She was gone. She vanished like a ghost shedding a borrowed skin. Months passed. I moved states, changed everything, tried to outrun the version of me she exposed. But some nights, when a faint hum rises behind me, when the pool at my new apartment smells just a little too familiar, when a shadow passes over me like a watchful eye, I freeze, because sometimes, in that moment between one heartbeat and the next, I swear I hear it click, and that's when I know the game didn't end. It just moved somewhere darker. I wasn't planning on going that night. I really wasn't. The whole chain of events began because of Logan, my boyfriend of almost 3 years, whose stubborn streak could have cracked concrete. Once he got something into his head, it was cemented there. And this time, he decided we absolutely had to go to some backwoods EDM festival buried deep in the pines outside Pine Hollow, Kentucky. And when Logan wanted something, he didn't push, he bulldozed. But the truth, the one I didn't have the courage to tell him, was that I hated festivals like that. I hated the smoke, the sweat, the strangers brushing past too close, their breath sour with alcohol, the bathrooms that looked like a war crime, the pulsating lights that made my skull ache. And the idea of camping in the woods overnight? That unease sat in my stomach like a stone, something instinctual, ancient, warning me away. But there I was anyway, stuffing clothes into a duffel bag that Friday afternoon because Logan flashed that tired smile, the one he wore when his health dipped, and I caved like I always did. Come on, Ree, he'd said earlier that week, tugging my hand like a kid begging for candy. It'll be good for us. I'm healing. I feel like myself again. Don't you want one good night? Just one. He was trying. God, he always tried. How was I supposed to say no to that? Even now, months later, I remembered exactly what Silas texted back when I told him we were going. You know you don't have to keep playing nurse for this guy forever, right? I laughed it off then. Now, I wonder if he knew more than I did. Logan hadn't always been sick. When I met him my sophomore year, he was practically allergic to wearing anything except hoodies and basketball shorts, even in December. Loud, charismatic, goofy, constantly pulling me into impulsive adventures, midnight bowling, spontaneous road trips, sunrise hikes that left my lungs burning. Then everything changed. First the chest pains, then the dizzy spells, then the diagnosis, and then the surgery. A heart valve replacement, something you hear about in 60-year-olds, not 27-year-olds. Recovery hollowed him out. Weeks of barely eating, barely sleeping, barely talking. I stayed through all of it, holding buckets when he was sick, helping him to the bathroom when he could barely stand, listening to him cry through the walls at night. Everyone said I was a saint. Everyone except Silas. "You're more loyal than happy, he'd said once. And that *T doesn't last." Maybe he was right. Loyalty has an expiration date. Guilt doesn't. The summer heat slapped us the second we got out of the car. Logan already looked drained, though he insisted he was solid, promise, as he slung his backpack over his shoulder. Silas rode with us, thank God. I begged Logan to bring him. I needed the buffer. When Logan got overwhelmed, he snapped, sharp and sudden. Silas calmed him better than anyone, but Logan hated him. He never said it, but jealousy simmered under his skin like a fever. He saw shadows where none existed, festival grounds buzzed with bodies, neon-strung pines, and bass thrumming like a second, aggressive heartbeat. I hated it instantly. Silas nudged me, relax, It's one night. And hey, food trucks. I snorted. Peak culture. He grinned. You missed my charming personality. Before I could respond, Logan appeared behind us, panting lightly, irritation sharp in his voice. Can we not flirt tonight? Silas blinked. Bro, I was just, don't bro me. The tension settled like humidity before a storm. By midnight, the air dropped cold enough that my breath fogged. We'd been moving vaguely to the beat when I noticed Logan listing sideways, color drained low. I touched his cheek. Clammy, you dizzy? I'm fine, he muttered. Just, need a minute. You took your meds? Yeah, I'm not stupid. I bit my tongue. Silas watched us, worry sharp in his eyes. I'll get water, Silas said. No, Logan snapped. Air. Real air. We are outside, Silas said carefully. You know what I mean. Logan grabbed my wrist too tightly. That wasn't like him. Startled, I nodded anyway. We drifted toward the tree line. The deeper we walked, the quieter everything became, festival lights dimming into a dull glow behind us. Logan sank onto a log, breathing slowly. Evening out. Give me a sec alone, he said finally. He didn't look angry, just worn. Defeated. Silas touched my arm. Let's give him a minute. We stepped a little ways down the trail, close enough to still see his silhouette between branches. Silas's voice dropped. Is it always like this? Like what? Like you're walking on eggshells. Like you're his caregiver, not his girlfriend. I swallowed hard. It's complicated. No, it isn't. Silas, he's been sick. And you've been dragged through hell beside him, Silas said softly. That's not love. That's survival. His words hit me like a punch. I looked up and realized how close we were, his hands braced beside my head, his face inches from mine. My pulse quickened. We shouldn't, I whispered. I know, he said. But you feel it too. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. We didn't kiss, but something between us shifted, then a twig snapped deeper in the woods. Silas straightened. Logan? No, he was behind us. Another crack, low, deliberate. Something moving, Logan. I called. No answer. Silas jogged toward the sound. Wait, Silas. Branches whipped at us as we pushed deeper. Shadows darted between trees. Something small, animal, maybe, shot past. We searched until our lungs burned. It wasn't him, Silas whispered finally. I swear I thought, it's okay, I lied as dread crept up my spine. Let's go back. But when we returned to the log, he was gone. Logan. Nothing. Panic flared hot in my chest. He probably went back to the stage, Silas said gently. Come on. But he wasn't there either. By 2 a.m. I was shaking, half sobbing, cold slicing through my shirt. Silas cupped my face. If we go deeper into the woods now, we'll get lost too. We start at sunrise. Just sleep a little, okay? I felt like the worst human alive, but I nodded. We walked the long gravel path to our rented cabin. Inside, warm cedar air embraced us. Silas locked the door. You okay? No, I whispered. I collapsed into him. His arms wrapped around me, slow, steady, safe. Too safe. We lay like that for what felt like hours, breath sinking. I kept telling myself it was comfort, not betrayal. But when his arms tightened around me under the blanket, I couldn't deny what it looked like. And while we slept, Logan was wandering. He stumbled through the forest, terrified, disoriented, following sounds he thought were music but were nothing but wind and animal chatter. His chest burned. His vision blurred. Every few steps he whispered my name. Just get back to our by sunrise. He finally reached the cabin clearing. Relief crashed through him that he survived the night. He pushed open the door, and saw me sleeping in Silas's arms. The sound that left him was small. Broken. Barely human. He tried to whisper. I didn't wake. He clutched his chest. His legs buckled. His already strained heart gave out. He hit the floor before he could call my name. The sheriff's report said exposure, exhaustion, heart failure. Clean. Clinical. But when they showed me the scene, his hand stretched toward the bed where Silas held me, I knew the truth. The woods didn't kill him. The truth did. He came back for me, and he died watching me hold someone else. Stay close, the sheriff murmured afterward. People get lost out here. Then she glanced past me. Her expression changed, sharp, startled, almost afraid. I turned. At the tree leaned, half hidden between the pines. Something stood there, and it looked just like Logan. I never planned on spending a Thursday night bleeding inside a high-security office tower, but life rarely sends warnings before it turns you inside out. My name is Reeve, a weather-beaten hunting consultant who spent more time drowning in spreadsheets than speaking to actual human beings. I wasn't built for danger. I wasn't built for anything except pushing numbers and pretending my life made sense, but danger doesn't care what you're built for. It finds you anyway. The trouble started months earlier, when I got hired by a luxury jewelry brokerage on the 26th floor of a Manhattan tower so rich even the sidewalk felt expensive. Marble floors. Silent elevators. Tinted glass that made everyone look like ghosts. Cold air and old money everywhere. I hated it instantly. That's where I met Leora, sharp eyes. Calm voice. A walk like she owned gravity. Beautiful in the way forest fires are, mesmerizing and dangerous if you stare too long. She looked like someone who'd seen terrible things and learned to live with them. You're the audit guy, right? She asked on my first day, pushing a rolling cart stacked with velvet-lined diamond boxes. Walk with me. I followed, because something about her made it feel like a command. That we weren't flirty, just connected somehow. She had this way of slipping dark jokes into ordinary conversations. My sister says you can't trust anyone who works with stones. You ever wonder why rich folks keep diamonds instead of money? Or, you always carry that knife. Good. Never know who's watching. Her humor was unsettling, but addictive. At the time, I thought she was joking. I didn't yet understand the business her family was in, the business she never named that I should have run. Then 3 weeks later, the night everything collapsed, the office was unusually quiet. Cleaning crews gone. Half the lights off. Just me finishing the final valuation logs before a foreign investor arrived the next morning. I remember thinking how desperately I needed a raise. Then I heard footsteps, heavy. Confident. The kind predators make when they've already chosen their target. A tall man in a hooded jacket moved between the desks with purpose. Not the "oops, wrong floor" kind of wandering. No. He walked like he already knew exactly where he was going, and who he was looking for. That I ducked behind a filing cabinet, barely breathing. That's when I saw what hung from his belt. A blade. Long, curved. Too clean to be anything but professional. He headed toward the secure vault room, and on the floor behind him, lay someone crumpled. Motionless, Gerald. His lifeless eyes stared at nothing. Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it slithers up your spine, cold and smooth. I knew the vault room was the only place I could hide. If I could get inside, I could seal the door until security arrived. That I sprinted. The man shouted behind me. The world became a blur, desks, chairs, shadows. I vaulted over Gerald's body, shoved the vault door open, and threw myself inside. Pitch black, the hydraulic lock hissed shut, footsteps thundered up to the door, but too late. The lock engaged, silenced. I let out a shaky breath, then a voice behind me whispered, cool and steady, scared of the dark. My blood froze solid. I spun. Who's there? A shape shifted in the dark like a panther moving through shadow. Silver flashed. A blade, pain seared across my shoulder, tearing skin like paper. I collapsed, screaming as something, her boot, her fist, I don't know, slammed me into the floor. Darkness swallowed me. When I woke, the vault door was wide open. Sunlight spilled in. Every shelf empty. Velvet boxes pried apart. Every diamond gone, and she was gone too. No Gerald. No hooded man. No blood. No bodies. Nothing. As if the night itself had swallowed everything. Security stormed in. Police followed. EMTs patched me up while detectives asked the questions I couldn't answer. You telling me a woman ambushed you inside a sealed vault? Detective Euro asked. How'd she get in? I didn't know. I still don't. They found Gerald's car abandoned in Jersey. On the passenger seat, a ruby pendant cracked down the middle. Mean anything to you? They asked. I shook my head. I was just doing paperwork. 3 days later, I checked Instagram looking for Leora. Her profile was gone. In its place was a new account at Crimson Fable. One post. A dagger encrusted with rubies, caption, business is business. My stomach dropped. Leora's sister, the one, in the business. The business that didn't get discussed. She was the woman in the vault, and Leora. I still don't know if she saved me, or set me up to die. 2 months later, I packed my life into my car and moved to a nowhere town in northern Washington where nobody wears rubies and nobody needs an inventory audit. I changed everything, number, email, habits, the shape of my routines, but some nights, when the wind slips under my door, I swear I hear a voice whispering in the dark, you think you're the only one who planned this? And I remember the glint of that ruby-studded blade, and the truth behind all of it. That I was never a consultant. That I was bait, and somewhere out there, Leora and her sister are still in the business, the kind that bleeds.